to enhance. Welcome to the Arizona Community of Practice on Transition slideshow. We exist to enhance successful outcomes for youth with disabilities. The Arizona Community of Practice on Transition, or AzCoPT, we meet regularly to collaborate, develop, and coordinate transition services and training. There are many partners that participate in all of these AzCoPT meetings, including the Arizona Department of Education, ESS services, Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System, ACCESS, the Arizona Occupational Therapy Association, Arizona, the Department of Child Safety, DCS, Diversability Incorporated, the Division of Developmental Disabilities, DDD, Raising Special Kids, RSK, the Rehab Services Administration, RSA, Vocational Rehabilitation, VR, Tribal Vocational Rehabilitation, 121 programs, the USEDS, Institute for Human Development, and Sonoran USED, so the University Centers for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. Our objectives in AzCoPT are to collaborate between agencies. We exist to provide supports and services to youth with disabilities and their families. We advance the provision and guidance for everyone who is working with transition age students, and we create better linkages to services and supports that are eligible and that are available in society. We also identify transition resources for parents and individuals with disabilities. And now, a representative from the Arizona Department of Education will speak to the services that they provide.
The Arizona Department of Education, or the Exceptional Student Services Unit, serves as Arizona's education community, ensuring that every student has access to an excellent education, and ESS provides high-quality services that builds capacity to improve outcomes for all of our students. In special education, the transition services are defined as, or could be thought of as, a bridge between school programs, the opportunities of adult life, including higher education, training, employment, and independent living. The process is facilitated through the development of a transition plan, which is required by Indicator 13 from the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA Part B. The transition plan is developed in collaboration with the entire IEP team. It is not separate of the IEP, but a part of it. The student's voice is the focus of that plan. The team walks the student through the student's strengths as a series of steps to identify the student's measurable post-secondary goals, the services, and supports. All decisions made for the transition plan are based on data that's gathered from age-appropriate transition assessments, and the student's strengths are required to be a part of the data collection and used to develop the measurable post-secondary goals. The IEP must provide transition services. There are 8 different components, 5 of them that the transition team focuses on in terms of best practice. Some of those include that no later than the first individual IEP to be in effect when the child turns 16, or younger than 16 if the transition services are determined appropriate by the IEP team. Next goes into age-appropriate transition assessments, the measurable post-secondary goals with the focus of education and training, employment, and independent living, along with the coordinated set of activities, courses of study, and aligned annual IEP goals. There are other additional requirements that are very important in terms of the collaboration between IEP teams and outside agencies. Additional requirements can be that student invitation, the outside agency participation, and making sure that we're updating those plans annually. When partnering with outside agencies for transition planning, it's important to be aware that agencies might be able to provide transition services and identify, when you should invite, learn what services they provide, learn the eligibility requirements, Understand what you can do to prepare the student to continue and begin those services. Carefully consider who to invite to an IEP team meeting. Consent is always required prior to inviting the outside agencies to an IEP. Find out what information might they need from you as an individual. Work collaboratively with the agency and family prior to meeting to help draft that IEP. Review information from the IEP special education staff and the Student's Education and Career Action Plan, or ECAP, to develop the rest of the transition plan. On this slide, it is all of our contact information for our Exceptional Student Services unit within the Department of Education and our Special Projects unit, which consists of our secondary transition team. Up next will be a representative from Access.
Many Arizonans know that Arizona's healthcare cost containment system, commonly referred to as Access, which is Arizona's Medicaid agency, provides healthcare coverage for both medical and mental health for those who meet eligibility requirements. There are some lesser known additional funding sources available for mental health services for children and youth. The Children's Behavioral Health Services Fund was created by Jake's Law and covers services for uninsured and underinsured individuals that are up to the age of 21 that are referred by a public education institution with parental consent. There is additionally funds available under federal block grants for those who are under the age of 18 and who qualify. These referrals can come from a school or from a caregiver who outreaches the Regional Behavioral Health Authority in their area. Included in this presentation is links to the Rebus and Trebus information on Access's website. Access's policy AMPM 280, Transition to Adulthood, outlines the responsibilities and requirements for providers serving Access eligible members, as well as those receiving services through the additional funding sources for those who are uninsured or underinsured. Transition to adulthood planning can begin as early as age 14, but is required to happen no later than age 16. This policy highlights the importance of a team approach and including system partners in transition planning. The policy requires that youth transitioning to adulthood that have been identified as having a serious emotional disturbance or have potential indicators of a serious mental illness have an SMI determination completed by the age of 17 and a half. For those youth that are not engaged with a behavioral health provider that need an SMI determination, please outreach the REBA in your area in which the individual resides, and they can assist with the determination process. This policy also outlines behavioral health providers' responsibilities to conduct transition planning for a variety of specific areas that are common challenges for youth that are transitioning into adulthood, such as living environment, finances, education, and vocation. It also includes youth transitioning to an adult system of care team if continued behavioral health services are needed. For employment services, Access works closely with Rehabilitation Service Administration and Vocational Administration. The two programs share responsibility to serve members that have been determined to have a serious mental illness. The partnership of Access and VR allows for additional resources through federal funding and for effective delivery of vocational services to people who have been determined to have a serious mental illness. Access works with DES, DDD for employment services to individuals, to members, as well as through behavioral health providers. Behavioral health services to assist with employment and preparing youth for transition include psychoeducational services, which prepares a person to engage in meaningful work activities. And some examples are included here in this slide. So career and educational counseling, assistance in finding a job, resume prep, job interviewing skills, and job training. time and money management. Also, ongoing support to maintain employment, which can include monitoring and supervision, assistance in performing job tasks, and supportive counseling. And finally, living skills training, which teaches skills that maximize a person's ability to function independently. These include, examples of this include in self-care, social decorum, recreation, and use of community resources, and time and money management. On the current slide are where you will find the links to our REBA and TREBAs that cover the areas around the state for where it was mentioned in the slide that outreach would be needed to either the REBA or the TREBA. Next up is a representative from Arizona.
The Arizona Occupational Therapy Association Post-Secondary Transition Specialty Interest Section exists to establish collaborative coalitions and mentorship opportunities for OTs in an effort to promote improved successful transitions for individuals with disabilities to the post-secondary arenas, which include gainful employment, education and training, and independent living. Arizona helps to train OTs and ensures that they're able to assist individuals prior to, during, or after their transition to the post-secondary setting. Occupational therapists can conduct transition assessments that contribute to the transition IEP planning process, Indicator 13, inside the school setting. They can assist with the vocational rehabilitation referral process prior to that post-secondary transition, or even when that individual has already graduated and they're in the post-secondary setting. And as licensed medical professionals, occupational therapists can conduct those transition evaluations and identify functional limitations and strength areas that RSA representatives can consider when they do receive a VR referral. Occupational therapists support across all areas of, sorry, you're gonna have to edit that little part out. I totally, so the Arizona Department of Child Safety representative will now introduce their slides.
Thank you. The Arizona Department of Child Safety provides an array of transition services to youth age 14 and older who are experiencing out-of-home care. Such assistance includes supports around education, employment, connections with natural supports, which includes biological family. We have a robust set of policies and procedures and other information that's available here at our, as you can see, the link to our website. Of special note is that youth who reach the age of 18 in Arizona's foster care system are invited to participate in the extended foster care program up until their 21st birthday. They may also exit care at 18 or older and then request re-entry into this extended foster care program. Services and supports are delivered through an individualized transition plan. And we have information again on our website, which has recently been updated. We also have a general delivery mailbox, youth services at azdcs.gov for any questions. Next up, we have a representative from Diverse Ability Incorporated.
Diverse Ability Incorporated is a 501c3 nonprofit public charity whose mission is to promote access, equality, inclusion, and the celebration of diversity through peer-based experimental learning, person-centered practices, and maximized collaboration efforts, and it is designed to heighten knowledge, enhance skills, and foster individual life path planning and growth. Arizona Youth Leadership Initiatives, our flagship program, is a combination of peer-based training, navigation, and support services provided throughout Arizona by and for youth who have disabilities and intersecting diversities. AZYLI is primarily comprised of the following opportunities: Arizona Youth Leadership Forum, or AZYLF, Arizona Youth Engagement Academy, or AZYEA, the Arizona Youth Leadership Initiatives Alumni Association, the AZYLI Statewide Capacity Building Conference, the peer-based person-centered planning services we provide, peer-based navigation services, engaging families and young adults programs, Emerging Me, My Life Matters, Edutainment Incorporated, and Arizona Youth Workforce Institute, or AZYWI. Most of our current programs and applications for them can be found at our website at diversibilityincorporated.org. We can be contacted for any specific or case-by-case work at admin@diversibilityincorporated.org. Up next, we've got the Division of Developmental Disabilities, or DDD.
The Division of Developmental Disabilities offers lifelong services to individuals that can start at birth and last the lifetime of the member. The division partners with other agencies to promote successful transition from school to adulthood. And the division's policy supports employment first, meaning that employment is the preferred daytime activity for all members of working age. So how does one become eligible? First, the member must reside in Arizona and be a resident. They have to apply voluntarily and meet one of the 5 diagnostic criteria listed here. It should be noted that Down syndrome was just recently added late last year. The disability must manifest itself before the age of 18 and is likely to continue indefinitely. And there are functional limitations in 3 of the major life skill areas. Once a member becomes eligible, the services and supports listed here might be assessed for the member. It can range from attendant care to therapies to employment. Again, any services are based on the assessed need, and the member would have that included in their person-centered service plan. Here is the contact information if there are any questions regarding eligibility or services that might be offered. And now you will hear from a representative from Raising Special Kids.
Raising Special Kids is a PTI for the state of Arizona. Our mission is strengthening families and systems of care to improve outcomes for children with disabilities and special health care needs. The PTI, or Parent Training and Information Center, Arizona is the provider for the state, or Raising Special Kids is a provider for the state of Arizona. However, every state has at least one center that is funded through the U.S. Department of Education under Part D of the Individuals with Disability Education Act. Transition services that are offered through Raising Special Kids look like a connection with a trained parent mentor skilled at providing information and support in regards to transition, turning 18, legal guardianship, high school transition, employment, independent living, etc. We also offer accurate, authoritative information related to your child's disability or special health care condition. And that can be received through services of one-on-one support with one of our family support specialists, or special education consultation, training, and problem-solving resolution services. That can look in a way of trainings opportunity for parents to understand different options for your transition to aged youth. We are also currently offering trainings for youth by youth on transition appropriate services. All of our services are at no cost to the family. And this is Raising Special Kids contact information. You can expect to receive a call back between 24 hours from one of our family support specialists. And up next will be the representative from Rehabilitation Service Administration, Vocational Rehabilitation.
So the Rehabilitation Services Administration, also known as RSA, and also known as Vocational Rehabilitation, or VR. Our mission is to assist individuals with disabilities, that's any type of disability, ages 14 and up, and to help them achieve their employment goals. So that's our main focus, is helping people with disabilities in achieving employment. So we collaborate with community organizations, federal, state agencies, clients, businesses, etc., to assist clients in achieving their employment goals. Part of the requirements in order to qualify for vocational rehabilitation services is that the individuals must meet the following requirements. They must have a physical, mental, or emotional impairment that results in a substantial barrier to employment. They are able to work independently most of the time once they've had the opportunity to learn the job and get acquainted with it. And then they must want a competitive job in the community and require VR services to prepare for, secure, retain, or advanced in employment. So basically, we help people with competitive employment, not some of the programs you may have heard of, such as sheltered workshops and so forth, where those situations are not considered competitive.
How do you refer a student for vocational rehabilitation services? Well, the age starting at 14 or as early as 14 should be when that student is ready to begin learning about, planning for, and preparing for employment. Who can refer a student? Well, the student can always refer themselves for pre-employment transition services or for vocational rehabilitation services. An educator can refer a student. A family member of that student may refer that student. We can also receive referrals from other state agencies, such as the Division of Developmental Disabilities, the Division of Child Services, or a behavioral health clinic. And there's other ways as well. Next slide. Some of the VR services that a youth may receive may include pre-employment transition services, which are available to students with disabilities who are between the ages of 14 and 22, who do not have to have an open vocational rehabilitation case. They can receive workshops in job exploration counseling, work-based learning, work readiness training, instruction in self-advocacy, and counseling on post-secondary and training opportunities. Those who have VR eligibility, along with an individualized plan for employment, which is developed based on the disability-related needs of that individual for their specific vocational goal, might include vocational counseling and guidance, work readiness activities, information about other community resources, community college or university education, vocational or technical training, job development and placement, assessments, career exploration, assistive technology, on-the-job training, and job coaching. All of the IPE services must support the achievement of that person's specific employment goal.
So if you have further questions about vocational rehabilitation, these are some of the contacts that you are welcome to reach out to for more information. Tracy Przyziaski is the statewide transition coordinator under Rehabilitation Services Administration. Betty Schoen, who was just speaking, Nellie Sanchez, another regional transition specialist for the state of Arizona, and then Fiona Donahoe, the statewide developmental disabilities coordinator, who supports VR staff in working with DDD clients. And next up, I'm going to hand it over to a representative from the American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Services programs.
The American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Services programs, we refer to as AVERS, is funded through the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Ed and Rehab Services. And under OSERS is a section referred to as Section 121, which is specifically designed for American Indian tribal programs throughout the country. And as of recent, there are a total of 94 tribal VR programs in the nation. And the purpose of tribal VR programs is to provide comprehensive and culturally relevant employment opportunities and outcomes, successful outcomes for American Indians with disabilities. Within the state of Arizona, there are a total of 22 tribal nations. And within those 22 tribal nations, or within the state of Arizona, there are a total of 6 VR programs, American Indian VR programs. The first one is the Navajo Nation OSERS program located in Window Rock, Arizona. The other program is the Hopi Tribe, the Salt River Tribal Voc Rehab Program, the Tohono O'odham Nation VR program. We also have the Fort Mojave Vocational Rehab Program in Mojave Valley. And we have the White Mountain Apache Tribal Nation in White River, Arizona. So how do we become eligible for tribal VR would be a question a potential applicant would have. So this individual must be an enrolled member of an American Indian tribe. They must reside on or near their reservation. And for example, for the Navajo Nation, they must live within a 20-mile radius of the nation. They must have a physical, mental impairment or an emotional impairment that results as a substantial barrier to employment. And based on this, then they would require VR services to help them in finding a job and keeping a job. And what services may be provided? Staff for VR in tribal nations are very similar to the same services that are offered through state VR. So the development of an individual plan for employment, outlining the goals and the services to be provided to help that individual achieve that vocational goal. And some of the services may include information and referral, counseling and guidance, assessments, career exploration, rehabilitation technology, native healing services. And if they choose to go on to be trained, it could be to college, it could be vocational, it could be a technical program. We may have individuals who may be in need of interpreter services and maybe assisting them with occupational tools, equipment, and startup supplies, especially if they are into the area of self-employment, also job development, job coaching, work readiness, and in some cases, we also have individuals who would need assistance with post-employment services. With the AVERS program, under WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, tribal programs don't get the transition dollars for the pre-employment transition services. Those funds go directly to the state VR agencies, of which the states do have to set aside 15% of their federal funds towards pre-ETs. And that would be serving students with disabilities ages 14 to 22 who are eligible or potentially eligible for services. We work closely as tribal VR programs with our state RSA counselors, and the state themselves also have to have contracts with contractors to serve as a vehicle. And so many of them do come out and work directly with the schools, provide the necessary pre-ETs activities to the schools, and collaborating with the school officials and the teachers in that regard. Up next is the representative for the Institute for Human Development.
The Institute for Human Development is a research and training institute located at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona. Our vision is that people with disabilities fully participate in all life experiences, and our mission is to promote full inclusion by advancing attitudes that value persons with disabilities and enhancing access to all aspects of the human experience. We are a state-designated UCED, or University Center of Excellence, in Developmental Disabilities Education, Research, and Service. And under that UCED umbrella, we have 4 areas of expertise known as core functions: education, which focuses on disability-themed degree programs, continuing education, professional development, as well as post-secondary transition. Research, which looks at assessment, evaluation, mentorship, and publication. Community service features clinical evaluation, vocational rehabilitation, intervention and therapy, and dissemination, or how do we get information into the community through product and content design, community engagement, and a focus on accessibility. Within the Northern Arizona UCED, we have a post-secondary transition program that is specifically designed to enhance outcomes for young individuals with disabilities. This program is known as the Supporting Inclusive Practices in Colleges program, or SIPC. SIPC is a federal and state-funded transition program for individuals with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities, grounded in person-centered planning, self-advocacy, and self-determination. Our guiding mission is that as individuals with intellectual disabilities self-define and advocate for their education and employment goals, and have consistent access to the supports needed to realize those goals, these individuals will achieve improved transition experiences. The purpose of the SIPC program is to promote the provision of quality post-secondary services and supports within colleges and universities in Arizona, with the results being improved employment and independent living outcomes. We are guided by a person-centered planning approach that will guide individual student progress and service delivery. We are a data-informed program, and we utilize that data to follow students throughout the course of their study to attainment of a meaningful credential or diploma. We support students pursuing traditional college degrees, as well as trade-based certificates. We are currently partnered with 4 colleges in the Arizona region: Northern Arizona University, Coconino Community College, Mojave Community College, Northland Pioneer Community College, and most recently, Arizona Western College. We have a 53,000 square mile coverage area across the region of Northern Arizona, and to date, we have 46 student participants. Also housed at the Institute for Human Development to also help young individuals enhance and achieve successful outcomes is the Arizona Access Technology Program, known as AzTap. AzTap is committed to improving the availability of assistive technology to individuals with disabilities and their family members. AzTap emphasizes direct service to persons, and some of the examples of those services are assistive technology consultations, short-term AT device loans, demonstrations, as well as training and technical assistance, and most recently, accessible gaming technology. For more information about any of the programs offered through the Institute for Human Development, you can email us at the emails listed on the screen. Supporting Inclusive Practices in Colleges is sipc@nau.edu, or the Institute for Human Development, which is ihd@nau.edu. You can also call us at 928-523-7032. And now we'll talk a little bit about another Arizona UCED, who is a sister UCED to the Northern Arizona one. which is the Sonoran Center for Excellence in Disabilities, located at the University of Arizona in Tucson. The Sonoran Center for Excellence in Disabilities offers several different programs that can help enhance outcomes for individuals with disabilities. The first one is the Pre-Employment Transition Services, or PRE-ETS, summer work program. This summer work program provides paid work experiences for students with disabilities. It is available to vocational rehabilitation clients, and they place individuals within the Tucson and Phoenix areas. The PRE-ETS, or Pre-Employment Transition Services, is a partnership with vocational rehabilitation that provides model development for schools and unpaid but work-based learning experiences for students. Also, at the Sonoran Center for Excellence is Project Search. Project Search is an internationally recognized transition school to work program with an outcome being competitive and integrated employment. Project Search offers academic year-long business immersion, and these are led by businesses, and they offer 3 internship rotations each year. Project Search is a collaborative effort featuring funding sources from multiple agencies, including schools, vocational rehabilitation, as well as local businesses. It is a high school transition/adult model program with 8 sites in Arizona, 4 designated for adults and 4 designated as high school transition sites. And today, over 400 Arizona students have graduated from Project Search. Lastly, the University of Arizona's USED also offers a Transition Ahead Roundtable. And AHEAD is the Association of Higher Education and Disabilities. That roundtable is a virtual activity-filled day that focuses on exploring a young person's strengths, interests, and dreams for their own future. Some of the topics that have been featured at the Transition Ahead Roundtable include healthcare, education and training, self-advocacy and leadership, employment, friendships and communities, as well as independent living.
Thank you for joining us. This concludes the Arizona Community of Practice on Transition Partners presentation. For further information, please visit the AzCoP website and click on the About Us and resource links. We also encourage you to become a member of your local Community of Practice on Transition.